Hi, it's a beautiful November day. I believe it's the 14th of November. Driving around in this beautiful community. And as I'm sitting here looking at the trees, I'm thinking about how much our world has changed. Realistically, I want to have a personal conversation because the key thing is a lot has changed. Even in the way we think, the way we do things, the way we respond. My goodness gracious, people don't even know if they're male or female or upside down or inside out, and this gender pronoun stuff. I mean, seriously, when I was growing up, I knew what a male was and I knew what a female was. Wasn't that difficult to figure out? And nobody called me by a boy's name, and nobody called my brother by a girl's name. We just didn't do those kind of things. Maybe at the time we were more focused on survival, sports, what's going on in our world. There was a lot of things going on like there is nowadays, but we become defocused, as if we live in an imaginary world. We don't think about consequences like we used to. Cause and effect. We don't think about responsibility. We don't even think about rationality, faith and reason. It makes me sad, but it makes me invigorated. God bless my husband and I with a beautiful daughter. She's 12 years old now. And I think about her journey and what she's facing. See, the thing about my daughter is that she knows who she is. She knows who Christ is in her life. She's not worried about the gender pronouns and things along that line because she has common sense. A baby is a baby in the mommy's womb. She knew that she was born, I carried her, that she was my baby and my husband's daughter. And she was a gift from God, and no one could take that away. She knows that we live in a country that's free, and the reason why we have our freedom is because our beautiful military. They fight for our freedom. They fight so that we can go and have jobs on a day-to-day basis, come home to our families, make our family meals, sit around our family table where we have our discussions and our conversations about how the day went, what's going on in the world, what's going on in our daughter's life, so that we would have these freedoms and not have to worry about being like a Minuteman, a gun in one hand and a working on the other. I thank God for our military. I thank God for our veterans. I thank God for all those who fought for our freedom. Because you know what? We can't take that for granted. Freedom isn't free, because a lot of people paid a price for that. The other thing is our faith. Faith and freedom. They go hand in hand. God gives us a free will. We can choose to follow Him. We can choose not to follow Him. But there are consequences either way. When you follow Him, you have to pick up your cross and follow Him. When you don't follow Him, you face the consequences of eternity, and where will your soul be when you die? And death is not far from each one of us. I mean, I faced a 18.5 centimeter tumor last year and had to have major surgery. God got me through it because I trusted Him. And I knew that whether I lived or died, I loved Him. And I do love Him. See, that's the thing. We're giving our kids all this intellect, all this psychology, all these things, and we're ratting them up and like shaking them like in a ball. And the problem is, we're not giving them a foundation that they can stand upon. Put your hands together like this. It's a firm foundation, right? Not to be moved. It can go right or left. Your free will. Man's free will. But you're the one that makes the choice, God or the enemy, the devil. No one forces your hand. You have the ability to move them back and forth. Why are we doing this to our children? Why are we rattling their brains and getting them to think they're not boys when they really are, and girls when they really are? Why are doctors asking the most ridiculous questions? Do you know what sex you are? Well, if you don't know what sex you are, then why are you going to get a female checkup if you don't know that you're not a girl? Or getting the male checkups? For heaven's sakes. Isn't peer pressure enough? Fitting in for children enough? Why do we have to rattle their brains with all this dysfunctional behavior? Ideologies that are dysfunctional. What are we doing to our children? A tree is a tree. As I'm looking at these beautiful trees, it sheds its leaves in the fall and it goes into hibernation. But it doesn't change the fact it's still a tree. A maple tree, an oak tree, an apple tree. When spring comes, an apple tree doesn't just turn into a banana tree or a Douglas fir tree or an oak tree. It's still an apple tree. It's still what it was designed and made to be, just like us human beings. God designed us individually. We know our gender. Let's give the kids a break. Let them be who they are. It's hard enough when you're going through the tween ages and then the teenager ages. Let our kids be free, for heaven's sakes. We parents grew up with worrying about what clothes we're going to wear when we're kids, what games we're going to play. Peer pressure, not psychotic pressure. I was never questioned whether I was a girl or a boy. I knew that kind of stuff. Love is not giving your kids everything that they want. It's giving them what they need. God doesn't give us everything we want. If we did, we'd probably walk away from him. God gives us what we need. And isn't that better? I think so. I have decided to get back into what I love doing. I love talking to you guys. It's so much fun. I love sharing with you. Write in the comments what you want to hear about. I'll talk about any topic. I'm not shy about any comments. Whether it's environmental, technology, business development, family, roundtable discussions with your family, any kind of topic you want to talk about, let's talk about it. I'm excited about starting this podcast and getting into this realm again. There'll be short minuets of kind of different topics that we can talk about and have discussions. But I'm really excited because I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what's going on in your world. Moms, I'm starting a little cold there. Napervillian Moms, excuse me. Very, very soon. I'm getting ready to put that all together so we can have that launch off. We're working with environmental groups. And we're doing our own environmental groups too. Because we're getting the word out. Can't sit by idle anymore. Too many prominent people that are acting like they're somebody when they're really not are influencing our children. Mommy and daddies, rise up like we did. Rise up. Stand in your faith. Stand firm in your faith. And let's teach our children the same thing. Be not afraid, for God is with us. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort us. What do we got to fear? I would rather have my child say to me, you know what? You gave me the values that I needed to have so that when I'm an adult, I can practice them and implement them and put them into my children. Then, Mom and Dad, what was wrong with you? Why were you asleep at the wheel? Why did you let me think I was a boy when I was really a girl? Why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you say, hey, stop? Reevaluate. These are the facts. Scientifically speaking. I don't want to hear that. Neither does my husband. Moms and dads, join me. I know these kind of can get long and lengthy, but I just want to have a talk with you and share with you about what's going on. Be not afraid, parents. We're the ones that are responsible for our children, not the schools and not the government. God gave them to us. He empowered us to raise them. And we do a really good job. So we don't need anybody telling us what to do, how to do it, especially the government. They've got their own families to deal with. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. God bless you. Stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more of these fun podcasts and these little minuets that we're going to be putting together. And yes, we are going to be starting a podcast in the very near future. So stay tuned and look out for us. God bless you. Have a lovely day.